Alrighty, the Ring Boys are back. What's up, Ringside Nation? I'm here with my beautiful co-host, Artie. Artie, how we feeling?
I'm doing all right. Cool weekend, kind of rainy, so we got to stay in, just hang out, watch some fights. If you watch this, I think a lot of the time we're kind of joke around about it just being like a fight night, but this main card was definitely one to remember. It was very, very good fights.
With that, we'll get right into it. I was wrong. I'm going to just beat Artie to it. He's going to call me a casual here in a moment. Amanda Lemos, not in this fight whatsoever. Not even close for my lock of the card. First lock of the card in a while that I've had crash and burn. So apologize to my fan base and my degenerate bettors that follow me and scope my every bet on whatever platform it is. But Verna Jandiroba, man, pre-fight minus what, 115? But I don't think the betting lines reflected it already. What did you think of this whole fight?
Yeah, I think Verna is exactly what she is. I think everybody's kind of seen what she does so far, and it's very simple. It's the same thing that I think I talked about a couple of episodes ago where I said doggy stylies are going to go in there. They're going to wrestle and beat them because they're like the Patriots, because you know what they're going to do, and you still lose. Same thing with Verna. I think DC made a good point. Her Brazilian Jiu Jitsu is so good, but the way she gets her takedowns is so awkward and weird that I don't think a lot of people are ready for it. I think really the main one that got her the win in the second round was she took out down Amanda Lemos, and it looked like she tackled her. She was gonna run her through the fence at some point. It seemed like a couple of submission attempts through it, and then just somehow ended up on her arm and threw in a crazy armbar. Amanda's corner, I think, was screaming for her to either hang on because they were pretty close to the third round, or just to tap because that thing was deep. But either way, Verna by submission. I think she was going to win this fight in the third round, no matter what. Anyway, so just another submission for Verna.
Love to hear it. Love to see it. Hate to predict it. Hate to be wrong about it. But what I will say is my lock of the card was going to be Jun Young Park, or AKA the Iron Turtle. But after missing weight, he was medically uncleared to continue. So we'll hopefully have to see him and Brad Tavares potentially go another day on another card, or I don't know if he'll get another opponent. Don't really know what's going on in that part of the lightweight division. So instead, we get a Steve Garcia and Zheng Wo Choi co-main, and we get me being wrong again. So I'll pass the torch. And Choi just got absolutely decimated and knocked out.
I don't know about necessarily like absolutely decimated. I think even if looking at like total strikes, I think most of those came to Steve kind of towards the end of when Song Choi was, not doing the hottest. Song Choi looked like a very, very technical boxer. He definitely had Steve a couple of times where it was kind of noticeable that Steve did not like the punches. It definitely hurt him. And then Steve turned around with one just straight to the straight right, and yeah, that was it. That's all she wrote. Song Choi definitely super wobbly. Steve, somebody who seems like, for some people it might be kind of hard to finish a fight, but Steve was in there throwing hammer fists, and that's all she wrote.
Speaking of super wobbly, Doc's picks 4 for 11 on the card. Mine 6 for 11, 9 for 11 for Artie. He won the card. He won the card. I completely forgot to go over the picks. They're on your screen if you're watching. Whatever. What are you, a cop? I'm not perfect. So Artie, congratulations. I'll give you your Woody Page moment in here in a moment. But speaking of decimated on this miss, a unanimous decision in 29-28 and a good fight for Kurt Hollabaugh and I'm not even going to try to pronounce Kanan's last Kruszewski. I don't even know.
It's the most Russian Brazilian name I've ever seen. It's Kruszewski. It's
Kruszewski.
Literally just how you would. Yes. Leave it to like Brazilians having just the most random names. But Kurt Hollabaugh, for a dude who is 37 in an MMA, DC talked about him being there for so long to the point where he was actually going to call it quits not too far from this fight. He had kind of Kuchevsky like down and out and instead of finishing the fight on the feet, he went down for a takedown. And this was in the second round. And the only thing you can hear, because they're in the apex, and well, one thing you could hear was his son screaming the whole time. I don't know who allowed that to happen because that was terrible. But his whole corner said, "What are you doing?" Because every single time he went for a takedown, Kushevsky would jump the ghillie. He's a ghillie goose. He threw like 3 or 4 in this whole fight. It was ridiculous. Never do that again. None of them worked. But it was very sloppy from Kurt. I think this was the first time I've really gotten to watch a fight. The commentators were not wrong. He likes to go in there and make it dirty boxing. This is exactly what this was. Not very technical fight from either of the guys. Just a ton of strikes thrown. Nothing very good except for the one that kind of had Khrushchevsky down and out for a minute, but then Kurt didn't do anything with it. But Kurt definitely deserved it. Way more output. Had some control time on the fence. Yeah, that's about it for that one.
That's what we get. You think he fights again soon or no? Kurt Hollowball.
Maybe another Apex card. Dude's 37. It was like fun to watch because they're just throwing wildly half the time. You don't know what's going to happen, but I think just given the quality of the rest of the fights in this main card, I don't think it's something that he belongs on. But I'm not the one who makes these fights, so I don't get the call.
This is true. This is true. I wish we could make the fights. We'd make some sick fights if we could make the. Dana, call the Ring Boys immediately, or Hunter, whoever we need to get us on the phone. Who also we need to get on the phone in true tight fight night fashion. Tyler Durden, Cody Durden, maybe they're brothers. We don't talk about Fight Club, so we also don't talk about his performance in Bruno Silva coming and getting the KO TKO here. I'm glad I took Bruno. I wasn't going to take Bruno. I took Bruno solely on the basis that I saw a Brazilian underdog. I'm not going to lie. I was going to bet Cody Durden, and then I was like, oh, let's go underdog. We need to take some underdogs on the the card. I didn't realize like 90% of my picks were underdog picks on the card. So I don't want to hear the casual talk. I don't want to hear the allegations from you already anymore. That I don't take risks. It was a big risk. Go ahead.
My Cody Durden pick was looking actually pretty good for the first round and a half. And then, as DC said, this is why we love the MMA. Cody Durden was completely in control of this fight. Kind of gave up a little bit of his control time. And then Bruno, after what seemed to be like a couple of submission attempts, they got up back on the feet, and Bruno just threw one, and that was it. That might have been one of the best turnarounds I think I've seen in a while in an MMA fight. Like outside of like one Leon, obviously that was legendary. Like I feel like that will forever be remembered, that head kick, headshot KO. But this was crazy. He was very much losing the fight. Cody Durden's corner seemed to be very happy with where they were, and just like that, in a matter of seconds, it went completely the opposite way.
And another guy who's going to be happy, and another guy who's not going to be happy. Doo Ho Choi, absolutely decimating and proving us wrong on our Bill Algeo pick. I was excited when I saw Bill Algeo on the card. I wasn't excited seeing how big of a favorite he was. I also was not excited seeing he lost. And now this is the second fight in a row he's lost. He's going to go probably 2024 defeated and probably isn't going to get a win. And you hate to see it. You hate to see it for the 35-year-old vet. So, Artie, did we ever think about taking Doo Ho Choi here, or was this supposed to be a surefire thing?
Corner. If somebody would have told me that, I would have 100% chose him. Because this whole thing, it was, if you were to go back and watch like a fun fight, like to show somebody like this is what MMA is really about, this would be it. Because unlike the fight that we talked about 2 fights ago, Kurt Hallbaugh and Khrushchevsky, this was very technical. Both very, very good strikers. Bill Algeo with very good takedowns. Doo Ho Choi with some very good defense. And then the KO, the punch KO was absolutely crazy. This was a very, very good fight. Do Choi, very emotional. He's only gotten to fight in the UFC, I think, 5 times. Uh, well, more than 5 times.
Yeah.
But he's been in a pretty big losing streak since 2016, I think is what they were talking about. So this is a long time coming for him. He was very emotional. He credited all to having the Korean Zombie in his corner. And in that fashion, he did get wobble at some point, but the chin held up. He came back and he won the fight. This is definitely one of those fights that if you did not watch this card, you should go back and watch this.
Couldn't agree more. And this is also one of those cards where taking risk and taking underdogs pays out, like Hyder Emil maintaining the undefeated streak. And I just love the value on, like, I don't think it's very often that you see an undefeated guy, the underdog. And I don't think you see the underdog being Hyder Emil. Like, raw talent out of the Philippines. You love to see the diversity. And you love to see that this is his third fight in the UFC if you count the Contender Series. And this is a big one. And I think the allegations are out the window. And I think Hyder Emil is going to be a problem in the featherweight division once he does hopefully potentially get a ranked fight. Artie, how do you feel?
Yeah, and that ring fight better come fast, and that's what he was saying to DC when they were talking in the ring. He comes from the team Scrap Pack, and that is exactly what this was. If you thought that just engaging Max Holloway last 10 seconds was a spectacle, they did it for a full minute in this fight. Hyder Emil, like, I don't understand how all of his strikes were so accurate when they were just wildly swinging for what it seemed like the full minute. Every single fight seemed to, and not fight, every single punch seemed to connect, and that's how he ended up with a knockout finish. And somebody who's 34 years old, still kind of fresh in the UFC, carrying this momentum, he did the right thing by asking that he needs to have a ranked fight as soon as possible, because if he continues this, like, why not, man? Get him in the top 15 in the featherweight. We need more exciting fights in featherweight, so I'm all here for it.
Absolutely. That's a division that we definitely need the lower end shaken up entirely. And I think Hyder Emil is definitely on a mission to do so. That's your main card. That's your fight night. Real quick, prelims. Cody Gibson. I think Doc has said it before on the podcast. Brian Kelleher is like his kryptonite. I'm not sure why he even took Brian Kelleher. Miranda Maverick, ringer for the Ring Boys, and Luana Carolina, the other ringer for the Ring Boys. Trey Ogden, me not picking him again and him proving me wrong again. I thought Radzhabov was going to get it done. And you hate to see it. Muhammad Usman losing. Tomas Peterson getting the win. And Artie, great card, great picks. I'll give you the Bill Algeo. No one saw that coming, but apart from the Cody Durden pick, I expected perfection here, and I expect perfection soon. Has anyone hit a perfect card yet on the year so far? I think I might have.
No, we were close last card. Or not last card, but what was the last? Let me.
The Rose Namajunas card?
303? 303, we were close. To the Rose card, I don't think we were very close at all. 3? No. But I
Case in
mean,
point.
listen, you said you're gonna give me my minute, right? So
Go ahead.
here
Go
we
ahead.
go. First of all, I don't want to call you casuals, but how do you pick Muhammad Usman when you've watched this man fight 3 times already, right? You know that he gasses out so fast, and you pick him against Thomas Peterson, who we all know is a great wrestler at this point because he wrestled Jamal Pogues, which was another pick from me. I like, come on, Muhammad Usman. I don't know why he was a favorite to begin in this one. Next, Trey Ogden, an absolute dog. He showed it again. The dude was a coach, came back into the UFC, continued to fight. He is an absolute dog. I will never not pick him going forward, unless I might regret that saying that later, but I'm not picking. But yeah, this overall, like, I know we like to dog on fight nights, but this was pretty good. Like, as long as we continue to see young talent, and especially of this high level in these fight cards, I don't think anybody would be complaining. But please don't allow people's kids in there. Kurt Hollabaugh, don't do it again. That was just hard to listen to.
Unbelievable. You hate to see it, you hate to hear it. But yeah, that's a fight night. To be determined if we'll have a pre-show. I have a few prior commitments this week. I don't know if I'll be able to pop up for a pre-show. I don't know if we'll have one. We'll definitely tweet out the pics. We'll try to get something up. We'll see what happens. I just looked up the Ring Boys history. November 18th, 2023. I missed one pick. Jordan Levitt, thank you for ruining my night. Chase Hooper, I'm sorry for, going the other way. But that's the closest to Ring Boys history. Someone's gotten 12 for 13. So hopefully we'll get a perfect card. I don't think, or should we make a bet? Do you think we'll get a perfect card before the end of the year? I don't think so.
It's going to be impossible. I think we'll have a pretty good chance with 304. I think there's quite a few fights that we should all see eye to eye on. It could be tough. Maybe the Sandhagen versus Nurmagomedov card could be one as well. There's a ton of very good fights on there. One that got removed was Vicente Luque versus Nick Diaz. I don't know what happened there. I think some sort of visa issues or something. But
yeah,
otherwise, I think this one, there's a couple coming up that we might have a chance on. But otherwise, I don't know. There's been quite a bit shaken up lately in the MMA world, and I'm happy with it.
Agreed more. I think we hit the algorithm right on the forehead with starting an MMA podcast, make MMA awesome, and just have all these great matchups. And I can't wait for what's in store for this weekend upcoming. Leon Edwards will be defending his belt against Bilal Muhammad. I think Tom Aspinall versus Curtis Blades co-main event. Paddy's fighting. We got a lot of things going up in England, and it ain't just fish and chips, people. All right. And with that, Artie, anything else before we sign off here?
No, looking forward to the Manchester card. I'm glad we got this right before it. But man, Bilal, you could be the savior of the welterweight division. Please, 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 please do whatever you can to win. Also, King Green versus Paddy Pimblett. I'm so hyped for that one. They've been talking trash about each other for so long, so
they're gonna duke it out, Max Holloway style for sure. But until then, maybe we get a pre-show, maybe we don't. We'll definitely get a post-show. We'll talk about it after. And yeah, that's all. Till then, see you later, Ringside Nation. Bye-bye.